Wow. Isn't it pretty deep?
Whoa.
I know.
I kind of really like this seat.
I'm sorry, I was just burping. I'm actually doing pretty well. It kind of feels weird sitting in this seat.
Isn't it? It's not comfortable.
It's really uncomfortable, and I can't believe we've been doing it for this many episodes.
It's not fun sitting in that chair. It's really not.
I'll say it's also not fun for me.
I love this. Are we going to end up switching seats?
Are we going to end up switching seats? I kind of feel like all of my mojo is in that area.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of weird. It's weird to be sitting here right now.
I don't even know, like, how to speak almost.
No, I feel like we're, like,
I'm looking at you. Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to sit over there.
It's kind of, like, weird to, like...
The thing is about you is that you have the long legs.
Yeah.
My little thighs only go about halfway on that couch.
You're kidding.
Swear to you.
No, I'm draped down the couch. My legs at the table.
Yeah, I know.
I have agita.
It's in an insane way today. Like, I actually didn't know if I was going to be able to do the episode.
I think it's the Tony's Chocolonely.
And I know.
Then the truck. Our PR. It's the PR. We're getting PR and it's killing us.
You guys, we got a lot of Tony's Chocolonely. Oh. And we got a lot of truff hot sauce and mayo.
Oh, no.
And sauce. And actually, I think every meal for the past 2 days, Joe, has had truffle in it.
And it's been finished with Tony's Chocolonely. It's been a nice little dessert each time.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, like, if any PR girls are out there from, like, a HelloFresh or, like, some sort of meal
fiber
delivery, if there's any Pure for Men representatives who want to send us fiber pills, I will actually talk about it for 2 days straight on live.
But yes, HelloFresh.
Anything that could sustain us, we need in this moment. So please, we need it. We need it. Like actually actively begging.
Good children.
That was maybe our best one.
I think so too.
And I think it's because of where we're sitting. I'm feeling great lung capacity.
I really don't hate this.
I don't hate it.
Should we talk about this a little bit more, or should we keep going into the episode?
I think we should keep going into the episode because of Billy Bob Joe.
Billy Bob Joe didn't say shit about your complexion. Billy Bob Joe did say something about our podcast.
Listen, you guys, my issue of the week is that there's haters. We have snipers out there. We have ops on us, and it's like getting so tough for me to handle. Like, I can handle criticism. What I can't handle is just like hate, and like I'm fighting. I'm like fighting people on TikTok right now about Snow on the Fucking Beach by Taylor Swift. And then like on top of that, like we got 2 reviews that weren't 5 stars.
And that's, again, it's honestly fine. I went into Joe's room and I was like, Joe, don't even freak out right now. But we did get a 3-star review. We got a 3-star review. It's really disappointing when the hosts decide to show a video and just comment on it. I don't use YouTube to watch podcasts. Seems the hosts forget about the audio listener. Maybe showing old videos shouldn't be a larger part of mixed media podcast. And then for the rest of the day,
the day was ruined.
The day was ruined.
You guys, like, we're not going to cancel Billy Bob Joe. Like,
no, and like Billy Bob Joe, like, truly, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. And like, thank you for feeling compelled to give us 3 stars. Like, that's honestly, like, I need that because I need motivation to get better and be better.
I stay in 3-star hotels sometimes.
It's really humble of you. I think that if Billy Bob Joe noticed and our listeners notice, our last episode almost featured no archival content because sometimes things like that psych me out. So I got psyched out.
Don't ever get psyched out by the Billy Bobs of the world.
I edited the episode in 4 hours, so like I almost didn't have the opportunity. But no, there was like 1 clip because I was like, I don't want to upset Billy Bob Joe.
No, but what Billy Bob Joe needs to understand is that was our premise from the beginning.
That is the thing that Billy Bob Joe, it does upset me that he said that because he said like for a mixed media podcast, you would think they'd be better about like catering towards like audio or something. But it's mixed media for that purpose. Like, listen, like, I know it's tough sometimes for our listeners to, like, visualize what we're saying in our childhood videos, but, like, that is the inception of the podcast was that. And it's, like, it's happened there's been 2 episodes. 2 episodes we've featured reactions. From this point forward, and honestly, I'm just going to say it for the listeners, if you don't want, like, if the audio listeners would rather a shorter episode where I cut out the reaction segments,
by all means,
like, kind of just make everyone win.
Listen, we're fueled
if Billy Bob Joe is listening,
feedback.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, and we're shaping this together.
But if you have feedback or any suggestions,
please DM us.
please DM us.
Before it's like an Amazon, it's an Amazon brand page. Like, before you give us a 3-star review, DM us and we will fix it. And that also goes for that queen.
But she is a queen, and she just genuinely wanted to remove 1 star to give us an idea to talk about.
For us to pay attention to it.
For
also,
her,
it made a lot of sense.
It did make a lot of sense.
And that is...
because she knew.
Misogyny.
Next one. Will you discuss misogyny from the gay community on a future episode? That's fine. That was fine. 4 stars?
Unfortunately, what happened after that was that I spiraled.
I'm a misogynist.
That's what I was saying about myself.
Duh, I'm a horrible person. No matter what, a man's a man.
Man's a man. And then I was like, is it I'm the problem, it's me. I'm saying that these women are stunning.
I know, I was thinking that. I was like, all you do is compliment women's appearances. Where's their brain? Where's their accolades?
I literally was at the bar the other day and I took one look at the bartender. I said, she is just stunning.
You do it in like a great aunt way. Like, everyone's stunning like that. You're like, oh, she's stunning.
I'm getting the coffee. I'm like, thank you. And you are stunning.
Is there misogyny within the gay community?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that a lot of the times gay men might feel like it's okay to touch a woman when it's absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that gay men think they can touch, they can criticize, they can comment. And that's my whole thing. And that's also what freaked me out. I was like, is it, again, like the review didn't imply that we were misogynist. The review just simply said, can you talk about misogyny? And that made us spiral. Do I believe that like a conversation about misogyny in the gay community must be had? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I hope that in almost everything we do, we bring some of that layer to it? I pray to God. I pray to God. And do I believe, based on the fact that our audience is 89% women, that we do a good job, at the very least, of being conscientiously or even subconsciously aware of privilege? I hope to God.
I hope to God.
I hope to God. I'm learning that, like, and like if I hold myself to this crazy standard of perfection in each episode where like I don't waver, I'm like, that's gonna eventually crack. Like, and that's why I kind of like being like, yes, sometimes I make a mistake, like, because it's true. And like the idea of trying to position ourselves as like moral compasses of perfection, like I don't think anyone's looking at us and thinking perfection, but like it's nice to kind of have that, like, like if you feel that there's misogyny within any episode, feel free to comment it. Like, let us know. Like, I would literally be devastated to learn that like we have ever isolated or made someone feel other through what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the goal.
Again, at the end of the day, we want everybody to feel comfortable, our listeners to feel included, feel valued, feel like they can resonate.
Yeah.
And we don't want to alienate. And we never really got to the root of why you're sitting on that couch, because
I was alienated.
Because you were alienated. We recently also just got a comment on YouTube saying that we
generally
was like, we can't see Joe sit on that chair, that yellow chair with that yellow skin tone. Lay that blanket over the chair.
And I don't know.
I didn't even never look at you and say that you look yellow, Joe.
And it's like,
but you have been saying you have jaundice.
Well, that's the issue, is that I pointed it out one time.
But feedback.
So
we're going to see how this works.
This episode's all about feedback.
This episode is all about feedback, kind of.
It's kind of crazy that we're still sitting in these seats. It's kind of freaking me out. I don't know if I love it, because the one thing about me also is that I'm like really image obsessed, and like I know what I look like from that angle.
I know what you look like from this angle.
And you're saying I look okay?
Yeah, how about me?
You look great. You never look bad. You have no bad angles.
I could say the same exact thing about you.
I disagree, though.
Okay, so it's all in our head.
Well, that's something. I was watching a Mary-Kate and Ashley clip on like TikTok where they were like complimenting each other in some interview.
Yep.
And Mary-Kate said to Ashley, like, they were like listing their favorite things about each other, and Mary-Kate was like, "You're gorgeous," and the interviewer was like, "That's easy for you to say, like, you're identical twins." And then she was like, "No, like, I look in the mirror and I'm like, why don't I look like you?" Well, like, the level of like that, like the idea of having an identical twin and being like, you're so much prettier than me, like, yeah, it has nothing to do with what you actually look like.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Good Children, the podcast where hosts Joe Hedges
And Andrew Muscarella
reflect on our 21 years of friendship, growing up in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and all of the nostalgia, trauma, and sex ed classes that entails.
How many sex ed classes did you take?
Health in 7th and 8th grade, and then health in 9th grade, and then I think that was it.
And then sex education, the show,
Yeah.
taught me more than I've ever needed to know about in 7th and 8th grade.
Did you take any in high school?
I took health senior year.
Okay.
And
A little too late. Held up
at that point,
where, like, I feel like kids were pregnant. Like,
I was
like they got
still
past
ready
it.
to learn. I was eager to learn.
I'm sure. Well, for us, it was probably really educational.
Although, and I don't want to talk negatively about health teachers, and I'm not generalizing.
Okay.
I mean, probably, but my health teacher,
The noise that your lips made.
my health teacher was the coach of the football team.
That's what I'm saying.
And I looked up his salary, the highest paid teacher in the entire
You're
school.
kidding me.
And I don't even think he knew what the class was about.
My health teacher didn't have a degree. He played in the NFL. He did not go to school for teaching. They just brought him in.
The thing about football and health
is how do they correspond?
How
Football is one of the least healthiest sports. People have TBIs.
Yep.
Like people like die from football.
Mhm.
How do you then go on to teach a health class?
They took one look at this man and they said, he's good to teach these
He's
kids
fit.
about sex.
Because it's also like the health part of it. Like
Oh,
that
he's
used to make me
fit.
sick.
You got nervous about them teaching you about calories?
Yeah, I was like, everyone's looking at me thinking I'm fat. Like the fucking the
Yeah.
food pyramid, that part of the syllabus would always stress me out so much because I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
it's me on the problem. It's me.
I feel like I would overcompensate. I'd be like, yeah, like obviously everyone knows you shouldn't have that many carbs. And
Like
then I
that's the
would
thing is
be-
like
and
I
then
was
would go
never
home
willing
and
to
be
be
like,
so delusional. I was never going to pretend that I wasn't doing that.
I've always been this delusioned. What I don't understand about health or classes that repeat are like, does the school curriculum just think that we're all so stupid that we need to like keep reintroducing the same exact topics that we have already learned? I think I learned the same thing in 7th grade health, 8th grade health, and 12th grade health.
Yeah, but like I do feel like it expanded. Like
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, like I feel like in 6th grade they were like, "Don't do drugs," and we were like literally learning about. I remember I have a presentation that I still have to this day.
Oh, jeez.
That's all about the dangers of marijuana, and it's like an essay. It's a poster. It's like, "Don't smoke weed. Don't smoke weed. Don't smoke weed," and it's like still on my laptop, which is insane. So then I'm like, why was I learning that in 6th grade? Like. That's when you got honestly homeschool your kid because like if
You take anything from this podcast, it's
homeschool your kid. Again, like teaching a 6th grader like me who literally was playing with Littlest Pet Shops, like and reading Harry Potter for fun over and over again, like about the dangers of drugs and sex was like such a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm never gonna have sex. Like don't worry about it.
Literally,
That's
don't have to worry
never
about
going to happen. Like,
I didn't even know what sex was until you actually said it.
Yeah,
to my
like
face.
you opened up Pandora's box.
Stupid.
Exactly. Like leave me in sweet ignorance.
Leave the S word out of this.
Treat me like the 18th century Victorian child I was born to be, and just let me literally be dumb.
Yeah.
Be dumb and happy and play with dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been amazing.
I'm
for
like,
me.
storks still exist. Period.
You're always bringing up storks.
I love the stork because the thing is about a stork, it's like it was this fantasy element of it all. They're holding that little twig with that beautiful sack with a baby in it, and they're flapping at their wings.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Isn't that exactly how it
what
works?
the fuck are you saying?
Is that not the visual you were?
Beautiful sack?
Yes, the cloth sack. It must have just been a
I
little.
know
like,
what you're talking about.
a
but
towelette.
A beautiful sack and a twig? You loved that?
It was a beautiful image.
As early as I learned about the stork, I was like, this is not real. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That was never something I believed.
Yeah.
I was always like, that's that much I
are-
know. Like the stork is not happening.
I
For someone who believed in Santa until I was 12, I
Yes.
did not believe in the stork.
But again, what have you learned about me and what has this whole world learned about me is that I
We're sweet.
believe.
We're just mirror balls.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Can we talk about the bridge? Can we talk about the bridge?
I would love to talk about that damn bridge.
So
I want a movie
about the bridge.
called The Bridge.
The Bridge. And honestly, the things that allegedly and did happen on that bridge scare me to this day.
To this day, I'm
So
petrified.
our middle school, shout out to the Dalers who are listening, was separated. It was two buildings. Like there was a newer building and the original building, and the original building housed like the 8th grade classrooms and lockers, and the new building housed like 6th and 7th grade. And between those two buildings was a bridge that took you back and forth. And the bridge was an option for students to walk across, or you can walk outside, which to me is like, that's crazy that we were just like leaving the school to walk into the other
And
part
it wasn't
of the
like an incredible structure.
The
It was
bridge?
a normal bridge. It was like
the bridge was almost, I hate to bring up Harry Potter again, but it was like Harry Potter in the sense of like, it felt like it was made in the 1800s.
Yes.
Like it was like very much like if you, almost like Great Depression era bridge. Like it was dark.
It was
There was always
gloomy.
birds in it. Pigeons would get into the bridge.
Pigeon again. Add it to the storybook. Pigeons love that damn bridge.
Pigeons were like, it
They
was
were shitting in the bridge.
Yeah, yes.
And it wasn't the only shit that was in the bridge.
Mhm. Absolutely. Sorry, a poster fell behind it. So it was dark, it was dirty,
Yeah.
people were pissing and shitting, people were doing everything on that bridge, or allegedly.
Allegedly.
Do you think anything really happened on that bridge?
I do think that things happen on that bridge. That was my first introduction to be like, people do drugs in middle school.
Yeah.
People were smoking weed in the bridge. And I'm like, no, they're not. It's going to smell like weed. People are doing coke in the bridge. I've heard multiple stories.
Middle schoolers
People were
doing
having
coke?
sex in the bridge.
I don't believe any of this.
Sex in the bridge, blowjobs in the bridge.
No.
Hand jobs in the bridge.
No.
Kissing in the bridge.
That, absolutely.
Shitting in the bridge.
For sure.
Fights in the bridge.
I almost died in the bridge.
Potential stabbings in the bridge.
I had a friend.
The bridge. Okay, I'm so sorry. How long was the bridge?
The bridge had to be actually 15 feet.
It was like
I was
for
so
the amount of
sick
things that were happening in
in
this
that
bridge, you
bridge.
would think it would be endless.
Because it was like,
It was the shortest bridge I've ever
the
seen.
entrance to the bridge was on the first floor of the
Yes.
school, so you had to walk up like a dark staircase to
Yep.
get upstairs, and there was like alcoves like on either side, and then there was the bridge. I remember being in 7th grade in this class, and a kid came up to me and said, "Hey, just an FYI, said he's gonna stab you in the chest with a pen on the bridge today." And I'm like in 7th grade, and I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, thank you for letting me know that.
Thank you so much for giving me the
I
fuck
was
for that. I'm
actually
gonna die
probably
today.
like, what? Like, what are you saying?
if I heard stabbed in the chest,
With a pen. With a pen. And I was like, will I survive the pen? Like, my first thought was like, okay, say this happens. Say I go on the bridge.
Yep.
I get stabbed. Will I live? And I was like, probably.
yeah.
Then I was like, okay, my next course of action is like, how do I make fall in love with me today so that like he doesn't kill me?
You walk into school, you're like, hey, you look amazing.
And that's exactly what I did. I went up to and I was like, how are you doing? Like, I feel like we haven't really talked. Like, what's up? And
And then you
spent the
just-
whole day being really nice to like in class around teachers. And then I was like, I think the following day, Matt Lowe gave me the update where he was like, oh yeah, like I talked to him and he doesn't want to do it anymore. He says you changed.
Were you just a raging bitch?
Yeah, I was probably a bitch to him. And again, I was a bitch to anyone I like had a crush on, I think. I probably like had a crush on him at one point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that was that one. And that just reminded me that I was on top. In my high school, they found a hit list. Someone was going to shoot up the school. Guess whose name was number one on the list?
It was you?
It was Joe Hedges, Sarah Gallo.
I'm scared.
It was me and Sarah at the top of the
Why
list.
am I petrified to like continue to go further with you?
Because people
in
want
public
me
spaces.
dead. People want me
people want you
dead.
dead.
I was really different then. I've really changed.
You're right.
I'm a survivor.
You are a survivor
I'm a
of the
survivor.
bridge. You survived. Anybody that graduated from
Farmingdale
survived the bridge.
The bridge was. Did you ever have a haunting bridge experience?
I never walked in the bridge.
Ever in your life?
Ever.
My mom told me I wasn't allowed to, but I broke the rules.
I agree. I never walked in the bridge because
you,
I got
you also weren't
good
allowed
child.
to walk the bridge.
I was not.
I can't.
I don't even know if it was a rule that my mom made for me or I just took it upon myself
You
to
were like,
not
I can't
walk
get
in
in
the
that
bridge.
bridge.
Because I was like, I can't take the risk because like if someone was trying to stab you, someone was trying to slit this throat. So I absolutely couldn't take the risk.
That's really fair, yeah.
Do you think that we were just stunted, or when we watch these shows of people kissing in the staircase and doing all of these things, that's actually normal? Was that the normal experience?
What the hell are you saying?
Like in school, like anytime I see a school show, Glee, High School Musical, Heartstopper, all these different things, they're making out in the stairwell.
Yes, but that's the thing is like I do believe that some people are doing that.
And I was judging them.
You were judging who?
People who were kissing because I was jealous.
See, I had that moment. When I was dating Sarah, like we would like make out in school. Like you know what I mean? Like that was happening for me.
You were making out with Sarah
Making
in school,
making
Joe?
out in school in front of people. I forgot. Like I honestly like just remembered that feeling. Like, oh my god, I wonder if like that's why I have PDA issues. Because like I was making out with Sarah and like Sarah listens to the podcast, so Sarah is now getting more information than she knew. I was making out with Sarah in high school, being like, people around me are thinking like this gay boy is making out with a girl, if they're gonna make fun of me. So I was like always like rushing and being like, okay, like I was so afraid of people seeing me because I was like, oh, they're gonna like find me out, they're gonna like make fun of us. I think I've worked past my PDA though. Yeah. Like when I first started dating boys, like I was always like in public so afraid to like kiss them in public, like terrified and like holding hands and shit.
I never had that experience, but I definitely have thought about that. I mean, high school, anytime that I was like, oh, I'm going to do it, I'm going to come out, whatever. I was like, okay, that is what the experience is going to be. And I never had that experience. Growing up, I think that it's normal for people to like get a room.
Get a room.
Get a room.
Get a room.
I was like,
you were saying
15,
it. You were
be like, get a room.
Get a room.
Loser.
Like, I don't have a room to like.
Exactly. Like
my parents' house.
To dinner. I'm like, literally get a room. You guys are so disgusting. You're gonna kiss at the dinner table. There are people around. I don't have to be here for that. I don't have to see that. Why are you subjecting me to that? A little kiss. Fine.
Remember learning to kiss like this?
Yeah.
I was always like fully like Frenching
putting your thumb and finger like
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like. Yeah. I was always kissing my hand.
Yeah.
And then I just moved to one finger because then I realized that like that's honestly more like a lip.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Those first few experiences you have sexually really set the tone. They can really set the tone for your entire life.
Yeah.
Where you could be like that, because I think that like I would spend the entire experience like making sure I was giving them what they wanted.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to Raven from last week, where I was like, by trying so hard
double
to
people pleaser.
And like people pleasing in a sexual way, like trying to make sure that people think that you're good at their version of sex leads to like bad sex.
Because then you're also like, you're having the who am I? What do I want?
I'm like, do I even want this? Yeah,
do I even like this?
Yeah, right, exactly. Do I even like this? And that was like my whole early to mid 20s experience with sex was, do I even like this?
And like why? And that's something I'm still trying to figure out is like the performance.
Yeah,
I love to perform, but that's not what it's intended to be.
No,
it's not a Broadway production.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like that's how you live in every element of your life.
Is performance. Is
Broadway.
Drama.
Yeah.
Is Broadway.
Yeah.
I take it into every facet of this
and
life.
I'm actually like lesbian period piece drama. Like we're two opposite. You're like Mrs. Darbus. Yes. I'm Carol. Like it's actually like I am like Kate Blanchett. It's always like devastating. Like, it's like that's the key difference here. Yeah.
This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0.
The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topic.
Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle.
Trim your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com and use code GOODCHILDREN for free shipping and 20% off.
Code GOODCHILDREN for free shipping and 20% off.
Yeah, no, breaking that or at least being like, I want to leave this experience being like I benefited, like
Yeah.
is such
What
a
do you want? That's the thing. That's what, like, and for our listeners, what do you
what
want?
do you want?
And have a conversation.
And sometimes it's like, if you don't want it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it because you think you should be doing it.
But if you want it and you talk about it and they don't want it, you need to have a conversation.
oh yeah, like we have a fear of rejection, we have
Yes.
a fear of failure, we have a fear of just not being liked, and
Yeah.
like all of those things coming out sexually is a nightmare.
I know.
A nightmare.
Oh my God. Can you imagine being on the receiving end of that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and being like so like I was so in my head always, and like worrying so much about that like leads to just a bad situation for everyone involved. But like also like, because if you do say what you want and the other person doesn't want it, you're like, oh,
All right.
this isn't it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Or okay, let's try. Look, what about this? You know, like you could probably
Or
find
what
some,
do you want?
Yeah,
Open the
make it
conversation.
work.
What do you want?
Communication.
It's
I love
just
to talk.
communication.
I love to talk. I love to laugh.
Laugh.
I'm a laugher. I'm
Huge
cracking
laugher.
jokes.
Huge laugher. I don't realize how many times I'm cracking a joke or changing the tone of this voice
Yeah.
that makes people laugh when I'm not even trying.
Especially hooking up with someone, I'm Amy Schumer. I'm literally like, how can I get the biggest laughs in the house? Yeah, no, it's been an interesting journey. We've been having more conversations about this. I've been having more conversations about this with other people. Like, I think that we all especially in our like mid 20s and even especially in your early 20s, you think everyone else is like doing better than you in everything. And this goes beyond sex, but like I thought everyone else knew what they were doing in terms of just life.
Yeah.
And then realizing more and more that like everyone else has no idea what they're doing and is just kind of better at coping with it is like this crazy
But
relief.
are they better at coping?
They're not.
I think
We're
it's
just
always a constant cycle from everybody being like they have their life together and I don't. It's like people look at us and like they have their life together. Oh, I wish I had my life together. We've been feeding ourselves off of the PR packages that we've been getting.
And that's amazing. Thank you so much to Tony's Chocolonely and Truff because you've sustained us for 2 days
But
now.
there's only so much truffle oil, mayo, and sauce.
and chocolate bars.
That I can put in the stomach until I
burst.
And today I was almost gonna burst.
I'm gonna get an ulcer.
We-
Oh my god, you have an ulcer. Oh my god,
I have an ulcer.
Duh. Oh, that's a
okay.
huge relief.
That's
You should go immediately to a doctor.
Okay, that's fine.
That's nice.
Good. to
Honestly,
know.
it could be your gallbladder.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is it this side?
It was that side.
Yeah. But yes, sex.
Going from sex to knowing what you want and being calculated and feeling like you're in your head is something that I think I've always grappled with. Is like even on dating situations. Listen, we've talked about dating. I go into dates being like, this person
Hates me.
this person
This person fucking hates me and wants me dead.
I'm a piece of shit.
It's like
And
we're like court jesters in the medieval times being like, if we don't pass this test, the king is going to execute us.
Yes.
And we're on a date.
I'm like, I'm going to the date and be like, this person wants to be my friend.
Yeah.
And that's literally fine. I want to be their friend. And I go into the date, and then even if the date's going well, even if the date did go well.
So your internal, like the thing you're hearing when you're on a date is like, this person just wants to be my friend.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Isn't
Andrew.
it very, very
Yeah.
interesting? I know.
And mine is, this person hates me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little mix of both, but even if the date was going well, let's say you had someone over, I'm thinking the entire time, do I put my hand in their
I'm
neck?
getting so sad. Like, no, like mine's more like, this person thinks I'm weird. And yours is, this person just wants to be my friend.
Yeah.
And like, that's crazy. We're so fucked up. But I think that the fact that we can even isolate those thoughts and realize it is like a huge accomplishment.
I agree.
Anyway, continue to talk about how you overthink putting your hand on someone's leg.
Yeah, because I think it's even like I overthink going in for a kiss, and I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
normal as well. I think that people that are in their head overthink going going in for a kiss. If the date went well, if they were laughing, if they were chatting, ask.
I one time said that to you though, and you were like, "That's such a turn off."
No, I think what again, Joe, every single day is an uphill battle.
Yeah,
and
and
I'm changing
a
my
new chapter
tune every
yeah,
day.
a fresh page.
I feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm like ready to take action.
Yeah,
And be like, I'm gonna go in for it. And you should go in for it too.
And this brings me to like the fact that we're 26-year-old gay men, which like predominantly are the more hypersexual of any category.
I feel 14.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and we're kind of outing ourselves as being weirdos, like, which is the whole podcast. But like, like I overthink all of that. And I'm literally 26 and I think the same way I did when I was 16. Like, I don't think anyone is talking about like their sex issues with anyone.
No.
Except if you're like talking to a therapist. Yeah. And even then, I'm sure it's tough because who wants to admit that you have sex issues?
Us.
Apparently
for everybody to listen to, because again, we want to spark that conversation.
Yeah, because it's a relief. It's like literally, it almost is like an instantaneous solution.
Yeah,
like not everything gets fixed, but I'm like, oh, if I'm able to talk about this thing, it no longer has power, and I'm instantly able to then be like, well, how can I fix it?
Yeah,
because I know how to fix it. Have you ever had an inappropriate boner?
Have I ever had an inappropriate boner? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Often.
I wouldn't say
yesterday.
What do you mean?
When we were walking, I had the Taylor Swift sweatpants on and we were walking into Whole Foods.
Out of nowhere?
Well, like friction.
I can't believe that. I know that's always the worst feeling because you're like, what do I do with it?
It's just like there. And the tuck it into the waistband conspiracy theory lie that I don't believe in.
I honestly am a believer.
You're tucking?
I'm tucking.
I don't understand how that functions.
Why?
Like, if I tucked my boner into my waistband, it would be like it'd be sitting politely like at belly button.
Yeah, but if you're wearing like a loose fitting shirt,
it would still be visible.
I mean, you can tuck up into the side. You can kind of slant.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It doesn't have to go straight up. It can slant.
I guess that's probably what people are talking about.
Yeah,
is slanting it.
Again, they're saying tuck it in.
I'm thinking
you're not thinking I want everything out and about.
This whole time I thought it meant like literally just like
straight up.
Shoot it straight up. Yeah,
you're nuts.
That makes so much more sense. This is why you need to talk about sex.
This is why you have to do it.
But you weren't a fanfic person.
I was not a fanfic person, but from what I've heard from you, I wish I was.
Mm-hmm. I learned most of my sex knowledge from fanfiction, and it was like Harry Potter fanfiction. I feel like that was the main one I was reading. I honestly prefer fanfiction to porn when I think about it. Like reading fanfic does.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense for you.
I know,
you like to read. You get your visuals through words.
I'm kind of like, should I write fanfic? Should I write like gay porn? Those 12-year-old girls who were coming home from school, clocking in for the shift at the fanfiction
about
factory.
About to do their algebra homework in 30 minutes.
Fully doing, literally writing some of the most disgusting depraved, vulgar porn, gay porn.
Yep.
About Severus Snape. And then just
forgetting about it.
Submitting. Back to school.
They're like X + 4 = 8.
I'm obsessed with them. And I do believe they're the moral backbone of our society. Yeah. And I'm sure that like more people than are willing to admit were
fanfic girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want the fanfic girls to step to the front.
Yes. And those, let's just say it, those are the Panera girls. Like if
fanfic girls, and like Panera girls.
Not every Panera girl is a fanfic girl, but every fanfic girl is a Panera girl. 150%.
1,000%. Yes.
Those girls were in Panera on their Blackberries writing up the most insane shit about Ruby as Hagrid. Can I ask you a question? Are you waiting for marriage?
Hey, you guys, it's Andrew here. I just wanted to announce I'm waiting till marriage.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. It was
that was
really
going
tough.
to be my excuse for a while.
It was the only excuse for a while. I was like, yeah, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to wait till marriage. Can you imagine? I can just say I'm waiting until marriage
and then never get married. Everyone has sex issues. Yeah. Everyone has sex issues.
Just gotta learn to accept it.
Yeah.
And if you think that you don't have any,
you do. You absolutely do.
And I hate to project that the fact that you have problems, but you do.
You do. And if you don't, I'm so happy for you.
I'm so happy for you.
I'm really happy for you.
Because on the outside, it might not look like you have sex problems.
Andrew, we are projecting. We're giving people complexes. Like you have issues with intimacy.
I'm like, when I walk into that space, they might not know. But in this head,
Yeah.
I'm working.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I would, but in retrospect, I want to know. I just like have an obsession. I want to contact all my exes all the time and not be like, I miss you or anything. I literally want to give them a feedback survey. Like, I want to be like, if you can, as unbiasedly as possible, let me know everything you felt about me, like how my personality, talking points, body, dick, sex, kissing, friends, like perspective on
You
things.
want feedback.
I love I do live
We
for feedback.
all want feedback.
But then like I want the feedback so I can then cater myself to make sure like more people like me. So like I don't actually need the feedback. You know what I mean?
So it's people pleasing, feedback driven.
It's so crazy because I don't think I give people pleaser.
But I think that you are.
Yeah. What?
No, it's crazy. I'm thinking about Grindr now still. I'm just thinking about like how every conversation is curated to be the most surface level conversation literally ever, and everybody is holding back.
Yeah, that's
Everybody is
why
holding back.
we do get on these apps and we do code switch into being like personalityless sex demons who are, if I were to, I would change my tone to be like more masculine.
Yeah.
Like I use like bro-y terms.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, like
How's it going, stud?
Yeah, like I don't
Like,
talk like that.
No, never.
And when I do use those apps and I fall into those patterns, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Like, who is this? And then you go into the situation and you act like that because
Yep.
you're like, oh, I'm putting on a
You're like,
performance.
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really it is so. I think that is what stopped me for so long. Is like next time I have somebody over or I go into the date, I want to walk in there and be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
How's it going?
That's
What's
the
happening?
thing. Like that's why again, Good Children helps because I'm kind of forced. I feel like I'm a little bit more forced to now because if you've even seen a TikTok of mine and then I come up to and I don't act like that,
Yeah, I know.
who's like which one of me is the real me? Like I'm not gonna
show up as the version that you want to meet.
you have to show up to every situation as the version of you that will make that situation feel comfortable for you.
Mhm.
Like that's the biggest thing. And that's like corporate America issues too.
Yep.
Like the times in my life where I showed up to a job and pretended to be a different version of myself
Yeah.
were the times in my life where I wanted to kill myself.
Mhm.
Like that is the truth. And like now in my actual jobs, like I'm showing up, I'm saying this sounds like a big sleigh. I'm like, you guys, like I'm going on this date tonight. Like I'm talking about my life. I'm not filtering or editing anything about who I am or what I am. And it makes those jobs literally
So
not
much
only
better.
tolerable but like pleasurable because I'm
Yeah.
like I get to actually be creative and like do my job and feel good about what I'm doing, but also I don't have to fucking act for
Mhm.
anyone.
Yeah.
And like that is maybe a lesson you just learn in your mid-20s, but I'm like I wish I learned it earlier. Like I wish
Yeah.
someone told me that earlier.
Be who you is, never
Never
be who you aren't.
Like
never.
she told us earlier. I didn't
Never
listen.
fall under pressure because
I
again,
didn't download the information.
in those dating situations, in those sexual situations, in anything, if you feel the vibe that person isn't enjoying it or they're not talking or they're not doing these things, like you got to think about how you're showing up in those situations. What is like, are you making them feel comfortable? Are
But
you
also,
comfortable?
If they're not enjoying it,
Then
they're
fuck
probably
it.
one going through the same thing as you, and two,
Yes.
it's okay.
That's fine.
That's fine.
On to the next one.
Yeah, that's literally fine.
That's literally fine. I love these conversations because sometimes it's what I need to hear.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like it's interesting. The show ebbs and flows with like being like us literally talking in TikTok bits to then us like out of nowhere like weeks in a row like having real conversation,
Yeah.
which is really interesting to me. It's time for
the girls' room.
Will you, Courtney and Travis, it in front of your kids?
I don't necessarily think that I'm going to Courtney and Travis it in front of my kids, although I think that their kids are going to have a healthier relationship to intimacy.
Right.
I am absolutely going to make it a point to kiss in front of my children.
Yeah, I feel like
Not,
I
like,
saw my
make
parents
out
kiss like
all the time.
3 times.
Yeah.
And that I can only assume did not help me.
No, I'm sure it's passed down, things like that, but
yeah.
like kissing in front of your kids, hugging in front of your kids, holding hands in front of your kids, doing all of the things that you would want to see in a relationship as you grow up.
Yeah. What the hell is that in your hand?
I, in my hand, have 5 Tony's Chocolonely bars.
Absolutely. Is it lonely or lonely?
Tony Chocolonely.
Yeah.
Why did I not know that? Tony Chocolonely. First of all, the bar is. You want to feel it?
Oh my god.
God.
I feel like Sharpay Evans. The
It
pink on pink.
matches. Tony's is the thickest, heaviest chocolate I've ever had. And I will also say, like, I think that we only can open one. Thank you, Tony.
Tony.
Thank you, Tony
Tony.
Chocolonely, for sending us a box of these chocolates. They sent way too
This
many.
is my husband, Tony.
Tony.
Tony Chocolonely of Tony Chocolonely.
If you see the... First of all, the wrappers are stunning. We're going to be doing chocolate chip cookie milk chocolate.
We talked our shit, they heard us, they listened, and they said we want to prove you guys wrong about how many chocolate bars there are in the industry. But Tony, I'm going to be honest, you were never on that list because this is a different experience.
But I'm happy you
than a
thought
fucking
you were
lonely-
on that list.
Yeah, thank God you thought you were because it worked out for us. But I would have never said a bad thing about Tony.
And it comes in the tin foil, you guys.
Very Willy Wonka.
And
it's
again,
so fucking big.
This is the closest, I will say, that I've gotten to, like, European chocolate.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's because it's from Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's so much better. You can get creative with this too. You can put this on ice creams. You can make s'mores. Done. I'm a Tony head.
We have a live show November 22nd at the Bell House.
And we've been planning.
Yeah, we're finally planning it. And it's going to be really...
I ordered a couch. Let's just say it to everybody. I ordered a couch.
I'm so fucking excited about it. I can't wait to show you guys what we're doing. I really think you're going to fucking love it.
Tickets are still available for our late night show.
Yeah, 10 p.m. Tickets are available at the link in our bio.
And you know where to find us.
Instagram, Good Children Pod. TikTok, Good Children Pod. Twitter, Good Children, Pod. Listen, Elon's fucking shit up. I don't know how much longer the Twitter is going to exist.
Andrew Muscarella.
Joe Hedges. I'm back on TikTok for a second. Be quiet, Joe. Now for an exclusive clip from literally...
You eating the chocolate as you speak.
Now for an exclusive clip from our Patreon. This episode is the one we've all been waiting for. It's the cruise episode.
And we don't... Again, we're not holding back, and we're not holding back the drinks. And what we
And
say
I'm not
is,
holding
I can't
back my
even believe it.
thighs. The whole episode, I'm staring at myself, actually stroking my body.
Joe, you were in a crazy place on that cruise.
Stop! 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 So you got a cookie and a half? Anyways, at least I won.
You won. And again, not to make it emotional, not to make it real,
Say it.
I'm really proud of you for, like, going up there, no shirt on,
Yeah. That's a big deal for me.
showing your most authentic self, like, doing the wop, doing a high kick, fucking the floor in front of, like, children and families, and not being afraid to do that. Like,
In front of women from New Jersey.
someone there saw you and was like, I hope to God my son doesn't turn out gay. And that I really respect.
I agree.
That was an exclusive clip from Bad Influences.
Jeez.
Mom, do not.
Stop watching.
And I guess we'll see you next week.
Boy, I adore you. I adore you. All right, I'm done.